Hello there. Dr. Bill Crawford here, psychologist, speaker, author of 8 books, host of 2 PBS specials. Here again to bring you another tip on how to help you create the life you want. Specifically, how to use my life from the top of the mind philosophy to bring more clarity, confidence, creativity into everything you do. Today I want to kind of look at the clarity about what triggers us, especially in terms of those things that really aren't that important in life. Have you ever noticed it's easy to get triggered or frustrated or stressed or annoyed by some situation that really isn't that important? Why do we get unraveled by the minutia in life? And I think once we can recognize it happens, we can go, okay, what's going on? Why do we do that? And I like to help people understand why we find ourselves reacting to certain people or situations based on how the brain processes information. So we got the lower brain, the brainstem, that's where the fight or flight responses are located. Got the upper 80% of the brain that I call the top of the mind. This is where we have access to our clarity, confidence, creativity, interpersonal skills, problem-solving skills, etc. Middle brain, however, is the scanner, processor, router part of the brain, the limbic system. It interprets things first. And the reason it interprets things first is because in order for us to have survived this long on the planet, we needed to be able to react to threatening situations just like that. So it has a tendency to be scanning the environment for anything negative, and it has a bias toward the negative because the negative has the more of a potential to contain a threat. So its goal is to keep us alive as a species, and so it has this tendency to kind of pay more attention to the negative. Unfortunately, that has us kind of at the mercy of unimportant things, unimportant negative things. Some driver that cuts us off on the freeway that we don't know and we'll never see again. The fact that traffic is not what we thought it would be. Some person in a meeting says something, and this person isn't that important in our life, and we don't really value their opinion that much, but we find ourselves reacting to that. Regardless if it is indeed a truly unimportant thing, what we want to do is to make sure that we're not letting that unimportant thing define our experience. And one of the ways I like to do that is to be very clear about what's most important. When I'm talking about what's most important, I call it our highest purpose. And that's not some grand accomplishment that we're on the planet to do. I like to define it in a way that I can influence or control. So it's not even necessarily my relationships, although I think we do have influence in a lot of our relationships. Stephen Covey talks about the circle of influence versus the circle of concern. I like to see the circle of influence as, okay, what part of the brain am I in? What part of the brain do I want to trust to define who I am as I go into a situation? I like to make sure that I'm choosing qualities or characteristics I would recommend to those I love. Clarity, confidence, creativity, compassion, joy, whatever. And then I say, all right, so okay, if that's my highest purpose, who am I when I'm this way? Who am I when I'm clear, confident, and creative? What's my tone of voice like? What's my body language like? And then I imagine going into the morning or the afternoon or the evening or a meeting or a conversation or traffic or whatever in that way. And that becomes kind of an inoculation against this middle brain reacting to the negative. Because if my highest purpose is to continue to be clear, confident, and creative, because that helps me create the experience of life I want, then I'm less likely to be triggered by some person that isn't important to me or some situation that isn't important to me. Now, we're all going to be triggered by situations that are important, that are negative, and that's not something that I'm necessarily trying to avoid. I want to avoid kind of being triggered by those unimportant situations or those unimportant people. And I have found that the more I am clear about what is important, my highest purpose, and what that looks like and feels like, and I can go into life that way, that helps me do that. It helps me be more influential in conversations and just happier in general. So if this makes sense to you, this is something you'd like to do as well. This is what I teach. This is what my books and seminars are all about. I get to go around the world teaching people and organizations how to access this clear, confident, creative part of who they are. Have a model that actually shows us how to shift from that old reactive brain to the clear, confident, creative brain. Then I show people how to rewire the brain in a relatively short amount of time so that coming from this highest purpose becomes our new habit. Then I show people how to access or deal with other people, especially those difficult people who are being obstinate or not listening or resistant or argumentative. How do I get them to shift from that resistant brain to their receptive brain so we can create a true solution-focused conversation with them? this is something you'd like me to do for your organization, all you got to do is go to my website, billcrawfordphd.com, or just Google Bill Crawford, Ph.D. I'll come up on the first page. Hit the contact button. Let me know what you're interested in. Love to talk with you about that. In the meantime, I'm hoping you're enjoying these videos. If you do, please hit the like button. Share them with your friends if you think they're valuable. I post them on YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn and iTunes and all that stuff. So Twitter, all that stuff. So feel free to check me out, subscribe on any of those, and follow me on those. In the meantime, here's to you. Bringing more clarity, confidence, creativity into everything you do. And I look forward to seeing you in the future.